So first of all, welcome to the VM Workshop 2025. So since most of you probably don't know me yet, I'm just going to take a quick minute to talk a little bit about who I am, where I'm coming from, what I'm doing, and what we're going to talk about today, which is hopefully super exciting content that you can use, you can learn about the future of the mainframe and our IBM Z strategy. So my name is Falk. I think last year you had Matt Whitburn here with a British accent. This year you're going to have another executive responsible for IBM Z development, myself with a German accent. So you have to deal with the German accent this year a little bit at least, right? But I hope that's okay. So I personally spent my whole career in IBM Z, almost all of my career in IBM Z. I started, like Frank, in firmware development, right? And then moved over into the security organization for a little while, was running a red team that was trying to identify potential security vulnerabilities in our software stack, and then moved over into the area of AI development and AI enablement for our product and for our platform. And all of those assignments are amazing. I think the last job that I'm in right now is absolutely critical and interesting and exciting for the future of IBM Z and LinuxONE. And I hope that at the end of my session here, at the end of my slot, you're going to get a better feeling of where are we going as a business with IBM Z and LinuxONE. Why are we as successful as we are in the marketplace right now with all the values that we bring to the table? What new innovation will come into the next machine generations that we are making available very, very soon? And then, of course, most importantly, how can you leverage those values in your shops with your clients, right? How can you deploy those capabilities and make use of them in the best possible way? So let's get right into the agenda, right? So first of all, we're going to start and look a little bit of how IBM Z is doing, right? How is IBM Z doing right now? And LinuxONE, of course. So whenever I say IBM Z, I really mean both worlds, right? The LinuxONE Rockhopper machines and the IBM Z machines that we are selling to our clients. So how are we doing in the marketplace right now? Why is there such a great amount of interest? Why is there such an amount of innovation happening and also investment happening from IBM's perspective into that platform and into the future of that platform? Next, we are not even a week away from our GA, our general availability of IBM Z17. And this is a big thing, right? Whoever worked with us, and you all did, knows and understands how much time and energy and engineering craftsmanship and excitement goes into the development of a new system. So we're talking about 5+ years from the very early beginning of designing and understanding what the hardware capabilities are going to look like, going into the manufacturing phase, right, producing the chips, putting it all together in a machine, doing the bring up in the Poughkeepsie test floor and in other sites around the globe. Hundreds of thousands of people are actually involved in the development of this product. And now when you reach the point in the product lifecycle where you bring that to market, where you deliver it to your first clients, this is just super exciting. It's just super exciting to see how people receive the new system and the new product, how they are getting excited about what we put into the product. And you know, also the way how we develop that product changed quite a bit. So we're going to talk about Z17 for sure. Next, the topic that I'm responsible for, I want to talk about AI. So I want you all to understand what it is. Most of you probably know that already. What we do from an IBM Z and LinuxONE perspective. And then again, how you can potentially, how you have to participate and understand what are use cases for your own shop, for your own customer, for your own business. How you can leverage this new technology in your own software stack and application stack, management stack to just increase your productivity, right? Reduce the amount of specialized skills that you might need. Automate things, right? Leverage what is available on the platform. So we're going to talk about AI on Z17 in particular and LinuxONE. And then last but not least, one of the biggest problems that we have on the platform today are skills. So we're also going to touch a little bit about and talk a little bit about what we do in order to reduce that burden, in order to help get new people excited about the platform, right? Spread the knowledge and get people on board. If I look at the room, I'm super thrilled to see a lot of also new people here that are joining the workforce. I'm really, really appreciative that you are here today, right? That you are continuing to learn and to grow, that you use that opportunity here at the workshop and at events like that to build a network. You are the future leaders of this platform, right? You are the next generation that will continue to drive the success of IBM Z, and this is absolutely critical. So please make best use of your time here. And make sure to use those events to learn, to grow, and then also drive change, because you are the innovators of the future, right? So I'm super excited to see so many new faces here as well. Next to our, of course, veterans who have all of the skill, all of the experience, who know exactly what you guys are talking about. You did that for many, many years, right? And you're going to continue to thrive and ensure that we keep the box up and running. So thank you for being here today. All right. If you have questions, before I go to the next chart, if you have questions, please feel free to ask those questions in between. If you have complicated questions, please wait for Frederick and Frank to come up. I'm happy to take the easy ones. All right, so let's look into the IBM strategy and portfolio first, right, like I said. So how many people of you here in the room have seen that chart, just to give you a little bit of a perspective of what IBM is actually doing? Of course, the IBMers, hopefully all of IBMers have seen those charts before. But I just wanted to put it a little bit in perspective of what we are doing in the IBM company and how the mainframe fits and integrates into that stack, because I think it's really important. Right, on the bottom, we're starting from the bottom, these are all of the different hardware options and capabilities that exist today, whether this is hypercloud environments or public cloud environments, right? These are power servers, storage systems, and of course the blue box on the bottom left, these are the IBM Z servers with our software stack. On top of that, as you know, IBM has two strategic imperatives and really strategic key topics that we are pushing on every level. This is hypercloud and AI. So we want to enable all of our clients to leverage the best of our software portfolio, the best of our services and consulting and support business in those exactly strategic areas, right? A huge investment in AI and in hypercloud enablement. The red layer is Red Hat, of course, right, which provides a lot of those hypercloud capabilities. A layer that spans not only our own infrastructure, like the IBM Z systems, but also extends into public cloud environments, into other on-prem deployments, right, where customers can use that platform to manage and deploy their most critical software and their applications. And on top of that is a data platform. So if you want to do AI, you need data. Data is basically the source and the ingredient that you need in order to really differentiate and build AI workflows in your enterprise. So the watsonx portfolio with watsonx AI, data, and governance is enabling our clients to do exactly that, right? You can tap into your enterprise data. Today, 99% of the enterprise data is not infused in any AI models. Of course, it's your IP, it's your knowledge, right? It's the customer information that you don't want to provide to a public cloud or public AI provider. But you want to tap into that, because if you use that data to create your AI solutions, there is a huge competitive advantage and a huge advantage to innovate and create solutions that are based on exactly this specific data for your customer base. Next, we have the automation platform, and I want to highlight one of the acquisitions that IBM just recently made is HashiCorp. Who of you guys had heard about or used Terraform, HashiCorp? I see a couple of nods. So you will see more innovation and more announcements happening on the HashiCorp and Terraform and Vault side and Nomad. There are key products that we also want to use in our software stack, in our Z stack in particular, and LinuxONE stack. So from a Z perspective, what we really want to enable is an integration of our platform through all of those layers, so that you can use industry standard technologies, hypercloud technologies, and AI right where the data sits and right where you host all of your critical applications. Okay? So, and why does that matter? There are a couple of things why it matters. So first of all, the mainframe is the backbone of the world's economy, whether you like it or not. And I know you like it because you are here at the VM Workshop. You understand what I'm talking about, right? A lot of people don't, so we need to spread the word. We need to make people realize how important that platform really is for our day-to-day, for every credit card transaction, if you're booking a flight, right? If you're making many transactions, it's very likely going to end up in the back end in a mainframe database, in a mainframe transaction processing system. And what does it mean for our economy? If it's the backbone, we need to make sure to evolve it. We need to make sure to modernize. We need to make sure to infuse AI into that backbone to just stay as relevant as we are and continue to grow, because this is in our interest. We want to see the platform be as successful and even more successful in the future generations to come. And if you look at the data, it's really surprising. It's really amazing. Looking at that chart alone, it's a chart that I took from IBM Investors Day that happened in February earlier this year, where Arvind Krishna, our CEO, and all of his senior vice presidents from the different business units talk about our success, our plans, our commitment to our clients, and also our culture as a company. So looking at the data about IBM Z, how we are doing in the marketplace, it's absolutely mind-blowing. Each of the programs on the upper left, you can see program-to-program growth. In fact, the IBM Z16 program that we are just having out in the market right now has a 120% growth rate compared to the previous program, to the Z15 program. It's the best and most successful machine that we had in the market so far. And the adoption is just amazing. We see a lot of growth on the Linux side, of course. You know, there's a lot of new customers that are tapping into the machines, that are deploying those workloads. We have a huge stack of values that we continue to improve and maintain, like our security, sustainability, resiliency, right? These are really the values, the core values that we bring into the hands of our clients. Now, this also translates into MIPS growth. So not only the program and the revenue for those machines grew over time, but also we have a significant growth of installed capacity around the globe. So a lot of machines are being installed, are being brought to life, and are being used to either deploy new workload, right, enabled by new technologies like containerization, the hybrid cloud layer that I was talking about, a lot of automation software. And then in the future, you can see something called AI MIPS. So we anticipate and we see a future where on these machines we have a significant growth of also AI workload in the future. And we're going to talk about how we enable that in a couple of charts. So on the upper right, you see how we move and how we evolve the machine over the time with all of the different capabilities that we added. And I'm going to talk a little bit about where we are today and where we are going, because our journey doesn't stop here, right? I'm with IBM Z for 20 plus years now. And you wouldn't believe how many times I heard that the mainframe is dead and that it's all old, and you probably heard that as well. So we are far away from that. It's the opposite. It's the opposite. IBM is deeply committed into the future development of those machines and into the roadmap. And I think you've seen a chart like that with probably different numbers. I think the Z17 data was not on there last year. So yes, we do actually not only GA the Z17 next week, next Wednesday, but we also have plans and we have people working on the next generations of that system. We have people, and that's a really interesting part from an engineering perspective. So I told you it requires 5 years, 5+ years from day one until delivery into the field and to our clients. So we really need to think ahead and we really need to be prepared. And we did a pretty good job, I would claim, right? If you think about when we introduced the Talon processor, on-chip AI accelerator, this decision was taken long before there was a ChatGPT and all that hype around AI that we can see in the marketplace now. So we have a great amount of people. We have great customers that we are working with to understand what the future generations of machine need to look like. And we use all that data. We have a phenomenal research arm in IBM as well. And we use all that data to define, okay, what the next generations of machine need to look like, what hardware capabilities do we want to see in those systems, and then of course also, okay, how do we want to evolve our software stack and introduce new innovation on the software side as well. So I'm super happy about that chart because it means, you know, there are many more generations of machines to come. IBM is committed to deliver that. IBM is committed to work with the clients. Just to give you one number, for Z17, the system that we're going to GA, we spent over 2,000 hours of time working with more than 100 clients around the globe to understand what those requirements are. So the IBM today is very different than the IBM 20 years ago. We are so much closer to all of you, and I love that. You know, we need that interaction. We need to understand what the problems are that you face every day. We need your feedback, and then build systems that address those issues, and even push the envelope further so that IBM Z and LinuxONE stays as relevant and even continues to grow our workload in the future. So super exciting future about an IBM Z strategy and roadmap. So now let's look into what Z17 brings to the table. So first of all, I love the design. I don't know about you. We now have a distinguished designer who is responsible for the industrial design of those machines, right? And it's not only the Z machine and the LinuxONE machine that look beautiful, it's also the IBM portfolio. So you will see even our DS8Ks, right? Our storage systems, our power machines, they all follow an IBM design language, and the whole experience of installing the systems in the field will be very enjoyable for the service representative who's going to put it into the data centers. So I think just spending time and energy to make that experience enjoyable and pleasant is going to make a difference for a lot of people as well. And I personally just love the panels. I love the look and the feel, the vibrance of the colors, and also the way how it's being put together. And it's not only the look and feel, it's also a lot about sustainability. So how do we design and package those systems to reduce waste, right? Reuse materials. and make sure they can be recycled once they are moving back and out of the data centers and will be replaced with the next generations to come. So there's a lot of engineering knowledge and skills going into that field that I didn't appreciate enough. But now that I know how it's being done, it's even better to see how it translates into phenomenal products that just not only deliver a lot of innovation but also look nice. That's a good thing. So for Z17, like I said, next week it's going to be GA Day. Some of our clients already participated in our external early shipment program, EESP. So some machines are already in the field. We're starting to power them on to start to use and deploy some early workload and development and test systems. But next week we are opening the floodgates and deliver a lot of those machines around the globe and enable 3 big pillars that we're going to dive into a little bit. Right? First of all, we're going to fuel innovation and growth with AI, and I'm going to talk about that in the in a separate section. Secondly, you will see IBM pushing the strategic layers that I talked about in the beginning quite a lot. Modernization and automation are key initiatives that we are driving, right? We want to make sure that as customers and users of the system, you get all the tools, all the help, all the software that allows you to automate a lot of the day-to-day tasks so that you can focus on innovation and value creation for your jobs. And then, of course, not to forget about security. Those are the most securable, and I say securable because you need to do some work in order to get them secure. There's the most securable machines that you can buy on the planet. There's a lot of expertise in the room. There's a lot of new and fresh and ideas. Go learn about security. Security is obviously one of the key reasons and the key topics for our mainframes. The workloads that are running on those machines are absolutely critical. And we want to make sure that we are not only secure today, but we are also secure for the future. Who of you in the room saw an announcement from IBM, I think it was today or the day before, about quantum? Can you? Okay, so I see some hands. So what IBM announced is that we are building a new quantum system with enhanced error correction by 2029. That is scary. That is amazing, and it is scary from a security perspective. So what that means really is that you want to make sure to invest now to understand what is potentially coming in the future. How can I use quantum safe algorithms today? They are available, but it's work, right? It's time, it's planning, and you need to start that journey now, right? IBM is not the only company, but there are companies that are working exactly on that technology. And we all collectively need to make sure that we use available algorithms and technology today to secure the most valuable data. Was there a question?
Did you mention HashiCorp?
I did mention HashiCorp earlier. I did.
Forgive me for not paying attention to the news. Did you acquire them or partner with them? What's the relationship?
Oh, it's an acquisition now. So HashiCorp is an IBM company. Okay. I think it closed in, was it March or April?
So earlier. What are they bringing to the portfolio here?
Yeah, so from a portfolio perspective, we will use products like Terraform for infrastructure as code. I think the main product is Terraform that basically is going to be deployed and is usable already today for some of our Z products like ICIC, the IBM Cloud Infrastructure Center, where you have the ability to codify your deployments and automate your deployments. Right? And then there are other products like Vault and Nomad, security-related products for storing keys and managing keys. That is also going to be available on the platform. There will be a lot of announcements coming around the HashiCorp on IBM Z and LinuxONE in the near future, but we already have some products that are being supported right now. Yeah, HashiCorp is a strategic. It was a really expensive acquisition, I think, but it is also a strategic bet and investment.
Just want to mention, so there are 2 pillars that HashiCorp brings to the platform. Is infrastructure lifecycle management, security lifecycle management. These are the two pillars, and then the products that are affecting our tools. We can talk details.
Yes. Now HashiCorp is infrastructure as code, or infrastructure management more broadly, is absolutely a topic that will influence and will change over the time, that will be modernized, right? That will introduce industry standard technologies, and we leverage HashiCorp and Ansible in particular for our infrastructure and software automation and management in the future, and already today. So let's talk a little bit about the Z17 highlights. I don't want to bore you with numbers, but we have the 19-inch form factor. We have 1 to 4 frames that we ship. We have a better performance, right? It's a different technology that is being used on the processor side, as you know. So we have better power usage, so less power usage and power consumption. And then, of course, also more memory and capacity growth. This is what you would pack to a certain degree. So now let's move into the exciting pieces, also next to the increased capacities and capabilities that I was mentioning. So Telum 2 is the name of the new processor that we are using in IBM Z17. And then we also introduced and announced a PCI-attached AI accelerator called Spire. So next week, when we ship the machines, the Spire card won't be available yet. It will come in fourth quarter, and my team is very busy to make that a reality and make that happen. And but what is going to be available from day one is our Telum 2 processor chip, right, with more cache and a new version of the AI accelerator unit right on the chip. So from day one, you can leverage exactly that accelerator for certain machine learning and predictive AI workloads on the machine. And then once the Spire card, so the Spire AI accelerator card becomes available, we will extend that scope of AI capabilities even into the generative AI space, where we will support a couple of products that I'm going to talk about in the future. And they just look beautiful as the machine as well, I think. So the hardware team did a fantastic job, and the marketing team to put it here on display. So what does it mean, right? So I love specs and spec sheets and numbers and everything, but what does it mean really on a day-to-day? So with the new machine, with the Telum 2 processor, you have 50% more capacity for AI inferencing calls on this machine. So you can run up to 450 billion inferencing calls with a response time of less than 1 millisecond per day. That means for every human being on that planet, we can run more than 55 inferencing calls per day. So this is massive. This is massive, and this is, in some cases, really required because our system is a transaction backend, a transaction platform, and we want to enable use cases, for example, like fraud detection. You probably heard about that. There are a lot of transactions happening on those machines, and we want to have the hardware capabilities and the software capabilities to allow you to run those inferencing calls with a really, really good and fast response time, so that you do not have to do that off-platform right there. More AI throughput. So the AI accelerator chips are now connected to each other and can talk to each other within a drawer. So there is more capacity, usable capacity from an AI inferencing perspective on the machine. And then again, less power consumption. And then I'm going to tell you something else, right? So if you have a Z16 and in the future a Z17, I really want to challenge you to start exploring use cases for your own companies and for your own deployments, because the AI accelerator hardware is already baked into the system. There is no need to purchase anything additional, right? You have the capabilities right there. We have the software stack either on the ZOS side or on the Linux side that make you enable you to explore and use this available capacity, and then understand what potential use cases are for your systems and how you can infuse that into your own business. So, and why is that? I think 90% of our organizations really believe that AI can be a competitive advantage. And of course, you know, we are living in a time where we have a lot of disruption. If you look at what is happening in the AI space, there are a lot of startups with amazing ideas. There are new companies valuated billions of dollars, right, that pop up left and right with ideas and applications that leverage exactly those kind of capabilities, and that can be disrupting markets that already exist today. So you don't want to be disrupted. You want to use capabilities and the technology. You want to understand what the technology is about and then use it in your own platform. Because we are in the era of AI, right? We are in this space. It's not a future thing anymore. This is real. It's being pervasive. It's being used. It's being infused in our private life. It's being infused in our professional life. We will see AI capabilities pop up everywhere in all the tools and all the operating systems and all the devices that we are being using. So all of us, all of my team members that are doing development and test and design, I challenge all of them to be educated, because you want to be educated. If you don't start to educate yourself about capabilities that exist today or that are on the horizon, you're going to fall behind, and nobody wants to fall behind, right? It's a very fast moving space with a lot of innovation, and we collectively really need to make sure that we keep up with that pace. So what does it mean? AI puts a lot of pressure on the system, right? More energy consumption, in particular if you have huge AI clusters for training. You probably all heard about certain installations with thousands or tens of thousands of cards. So now let's translate that into what that means for Z, right? We don't anticipate that you have thousands of cards or thousands of mainframes to do training. Our machines are designed to use models, right, for inferencing calls in transaction workloads in particular, and then also for specific generative AI use cases. So we have either predictive AI on the left side of that chart, where we have really fast-paced, low SLA, very fast response time transaction workloads that require a fast response. And then with the introduction of the Spire AI accelerator, we can use bigger models, right, large language models in the future in this machine as well, to give you even more confidence into the results of the inferencing calls that you are getting. So combining basically a fast on-chip accelerator on Telum 2 with a Spire PCI attached accelerator, you can cover the whole spectrum of AI workload, whether it's on the machine learning side or on the generative AI side, and get you ready for the future. So what does it mean? We're going to have inferencing, right, on the machine, on chip. We're going to have inferencing on the card as well. And then we're going to see a lot of assistants. And I'm going to introduce you to 2 different assistants in a minute that are being deployed and being made available to our users and to our customers. And then, of course, on the right side, you will see agents. IBM is talking a lot about agents. If you were able to look at our Think keynotes, you heard us talk a lot about how we leverage a catalog of existing agents and how we enable clients to use agents in the future for their own business problems and their own data. So agents will become relevant even in the Z ecosystem in the future. So every single layer of our product portfolio will be AI enabled and will leverage certain AI capabilities in the next 5 years to come. So get educated about what that means, get educated about how you can leverage that technology, understand what the benefits are, and then use it, right? Use it, learn, innovate, and leverage available hardware capabilities on that box. Now, the 2 generative AI products that I quickly want to talk about before we're going to wrap up are Watson X Assistant for Z. This is a new capability. I think Matt Whitburn, for the people who were here last year, you have seen him demo Watson X Assistant for Z. Last year we were in the early days. This year the product is like day and night. It's so much better, so much more advanced. We have significantly improved the data that we are using to train the model, and the RAG infrastructure, the automation capabilities. You can now use that to do certain system programmer tasks automatically, right, with a chat interface. And this will move into an agentic framework in the near future as well. And then on the flip side, on the bottom of the chart, you have tools for our developer community. So developing on, yeah, there's a question?
Excuse me.
Yes.
Did I just hear you say you use this automation by talking to it and
it's a chat interface. It's a natural language interface. So it's a chat interface that you can use to prompt, and then it guides you through different workflows and different automation that already exists today. Yes. So human language is a new form of interacting with complex systems and machines. We do that with our phones. I see my 15-year-old talk to his chat application every day, asking it questions instead of using Google. So the way how we as human beings will evolve and interact with complex machines and systems, like the Z system and LinuxONE in the future, will allow much more human language interaction, which again lowers the bar of complexity, allows us to do things in a more natural way, how we talk to each other as human beings.
Is there any concern with knowledge retainment if we get so wrapped up with AI?
So let me ask you a different question. Let me play that back. So are you concerned that because we invented the calculator that people cannot do math anymore? It is a tool, right? It is a tool, and it's going to be enhancing and allowing us to lower the bar of skills required, and it's going to automate away certain tasks that human beings could only do in the past. So it will allow us to evolve how we use those complex machines in the future. Yes?
Well, maybe I'm just old-fashioned. I grew up, my training started with the basic level,
yes,
and then you go, and then you build on top of that base level. My concern with all this AI is that those younger generation won't have that base level. They're going to just be thrown right into it, and without that base level, there could be some things that may be just missing in that learning curve.
I agree with you. I agree, and I don't think we're going to skip a lot of those steps. What I do strongly believe that there is an acceleration through those steps, because you're going to get a much accelerated, personalized learning path for your skill level and your ability to just grab information, consume information, and automate tasks in a much accelerated fashion. So it's not that we're going to skip all of the junior software developers or whatsoever. they are still needed, they are still around, and they're going to continue to be required to operate and to innovate. But the way how they do it will be significantly more productive and significantly accelerated due to the technology that we give them at their fingertips, like Watson Code Assistant, for example. And think about another issue that we have, right? Building those foundational skills that you just talked about will be required, no question asked. But then you do that for programming language A. Now, we are mainframers, so we know we have a lot of proprietary stuff on that box. So being able to get a tool that translates the knowledge that you build for programming language A into a mainframe world will, again, accelerate the onboarding, accelerate the learning. And this is what it's all about. We want to use those tools and technologies. It's a tool. It ain't going to replace you. It's going to be an acceleration of your learning and productivity experience in your job. And not only as a developer, you're going to do it as a tester, as a designer, as a manager. Every single job will have some implications in regards of how AI technology will be infused and how it will change and accelerate our productivity gains. Yep. All right, so let me wrap up here quickly with our skills chart. I mentioned it in the beginning of the presentation. Skills is what we worry about. We have, at least if I look at my team, I'm just going to give you an example. If I look at my team, I have a certain part of my workforce that will just retire. They had a phenomenal career in innovation, but they will be gone in a couple of years from now. So I'm really worried to make sure that the next generation that is coming on board is getting access to those tools, that is getting the support that they need in order to be as successful and even more successful as the current generation of developers and testers and employees that we have. And this translates one-on-one into all of the clients that we talk to, so we hear the same issue there. Being a mainframe system programmer, a developer, an operator requires a lot of very high complex skills. So what you're going to see from an IBM perspective, we are committed to continue our simplification journey. We are committed to work with all of you to understand how we can further reduce the amount of skills needed to operate those machines and be successful in your jobs. We are committed to provide tooling based on AI technology and other technology that will enable you to do that, to address the skills shortage and the skills issue that we have. And we need the feedback. We are working with you all together to tackle that. But I think this is one of the biggest challenges that we're going to have as a community. We want to attract the next generation. We want to make sure they understand the amazing capability that this platform brings to the table, the innovation that it brings, and the importance of the platform as well. All right. So this is it for my part of the keynote. So I'm handing over to Frank now. Really appreciate your patience and your interest. I think it's really an exciting time for being in the IBM Z ecosystem and community, and it's just phenomenal to see how we bring the next generation of hardware to life, and then what additional AI use cases and workload we're going to see in the future on the machines that are coming. So thank you for your patience.